Welcome to another episode of the Wandering Watercolor. Today we are painting the 5th page of the Plants and Flowers watercolor coloring book, and let's get started. So this is the 5th page image. It is a little cacti along with a succulent in a pot, and there's going to be 5, maybe 6 different colors in this one. As always, make sure to have obviously your brush, 2 jars of water. I have them over here on this side off screen, and then your dish that you'll be mixing your colors in, a rag, scrap piece of paper, and yeah, the first thing we will do is wet our paints. If you don't have a little spray bottle like this, I think I got this from Walmart for like maybe $1, if that. I just use this because it's much quicker. Otherwise, I would just have to grab water and then put it on each one of the paints. If you're using my paint, I make my paint from scratch. I put a lot of pigment into the paint, so adding water helps activate it and make it a little easier to work with. I make my own paint because I try to make it really vibrant. That's really the whole goal here. I know a lot of people tell me that watercolor is kind of dull or desaturated, which it can be, but there's definitely some good paint out there, and I try to really make mine very saturated. But anyway, that's besides the point. The very first thing we will want to mix is the base color for the cactus, and the way we'll do that is we'll grab some green, and this cactus has a little bit, it's more of a blue green as opposed to a straight green. So what we'll do is grab a little bit of the light blue and mix it in, and that's definitely too much. I'm going to add a good amount more green. I'm just going to go ahead and grab that, maybe grab a little more water here. Okay, let's see. So obviously this is too concentrated. So what we'll do is we'll dilute it with a bit of water over here on the bottom. Just grab that. Because the first layer we're going to do is going to be a lighter color. So we want more of the paper to show up through the color. Therefore we want to use more water and less pigment. That way it gives that appearance. So that's kind of what I'm going for, but honestly it's too much on the blue side. I need it to be a little greener. So let's see here. Almost. Yeah, I'm gonna get more green. And this is why it's always good to have a little plate to mix your colors on top of, just because it makes it easier to make sure you're getting exactly the color you're looking for. That's better. So we'll go ahead and we'll use that. And what we're doing is we're avoiding these little blooms, these little blossoms here from the cactus plant, and then we're also kind of avoiding the needles that are poking from the plant, and just kind of working our way down. If you kind of go a little bit inside the line, that's fine. Don't stress it. It happens. Go right there. You can always try to dry off your brush and then just pick up some of the color. But yeah, it's not the end of the world. Go ahead and we'll color more in here. There we go. Nice and slow. Just getting all the details, and it's a flat wash, so we're just filling in the space. And that's it. We're not trying to get any texture or shadows. You can if you want to. Always remember, you don't have to paint these exactly as I do. You can always just do your own thing. And actually, sometimes people do really great renderings. I've had people tag me and show me things on Instagram, or just like email me pictures of the things that they've done, or on Facebook they'll tag me, and it's really kind of incredible because there's so many different, like, there's basically an infinite amount of ways that you can render this image right here just with watercolor, let alone if you start adding other mediums, you know, like pencils, markers. Anyway, you know, maybe I'll do a video at some point where I just render the same exact page like 10 different times just to show all the different ways that it can be done, or just kind of give like an idea. Okay. I'm just adding all that in. Just carefully avoiding certain parts. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the color. I dried off my brush so I can pick up a little bit because I don't want it to be too dark, because when we add the shadows, then it'll be it'll just add that much more to the shadows, and it'll kind of make it it'll make it look a little weird. So I would rather keep it on the lighter end. Okay. There's that. Okay, almost done here. I'm going to dry that off a little bit. I dried off my brush so I can pick up again some more of the excess. I'm going to rinse off my brush. So that looks good so far. And the shadow will basically, we're imagining that it's coming from top right. So a little bit like this. And the next part that we'll paint is the base color for the pot that's holding the cacti. And we'll grab a little bit of this. Actually, you know, I'll grab some of the lighter brown here. Let me see what that looks like. Yeah, that's perfect. And I'm just going to do a flat wash for that. That's like almost the perfect color for one of those little clay pots. You've probably seen them at different like plant stores. There we go. Okay, rinse the brush. And then while that's drying, we'll go ahead, I'll get one of my other soap dishes. So I'm going to mix the color for the little rosebuds. Well, they're not rosebuds. They're just flowers. I guess cactus flowers, cactus blossoms. They're going to be red, but they'll have a hint of purple to them. So it's not It's more like a purpley red. What is that? Scarlet? Would that be the right word for it? Okay, so a little more like this. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a good light color, kind of what I'm going for. I'm gonna leave the center here white, so I'm just gonna color more like the outside. So I'm gonna color that in like that. These colors are looking pretty pale, kind of pastelish almost right now, but when we add the shadows, they'll pop a lot. I'm also trying to stay more true to the colors of the initial reference that I was using. Feel free to bump up the value a little bit if you want to. If you want to use more pigment when you're mixing in or mixing up your colors. This book in particular, I think maybe one that I start doing more renditions, different renditions of the same images, just to show. Okay, so I'm rinse my brush, and now while those are drying, actually, you know what? I'm gonna add a little more. This one came out way too pale. Now it's too much. Huh. Okay, there we go. And now while those are drying, we can go ahead and work on the succulent down here. Now there are a lot of different types of succulents, and I'll probably end up doing at some point a book specifically for succulents. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a little bit of green, a little bit of dark blue, and a little bit of green, and a little bit more green. There we go, a little bit of dark blue. The dark blue, if you're using my palette, it's very strong, so careful how much you use, because it'll throw off the ratio pretty quickly. I do want this one to be a little more on the blue side in terms of what the color looks like. So it should be more blue than green, for sure. Let's see. I'm gonna get more blue. There we go. It's like a blue-green. And get more water. Kind of dilute it. Yeah, that's pretty close. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll just add that in. All the little sections. Okay. And feel free to go slowly so you're not worried about like going out of the lines. Unless you're wanting to give it more of an expressionist feel. That's totally fine. Okay. Okay. So that looks good. And then we're just going to do a little bit of a shadow suggestion, just a little bit here on the bottom. The way we'll do that is we'll grab a little bit of this brown and actually a little bit of this blue-green that we mixed here. And it's not coming together quite right, so I'm just gonna grab a little bit of the blue. There we go. Maybe a little more. There we go. So it's kind of like a gray that's more on the side of brown, which is, yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I'm looking for. So I'll go ahead and I'll underline this like that, and then just kind of a little bit put some pressure and then pull it out. There we go. Perfect. I'm gonna rinse my brush. Okay, so next thing is we will mix up the dark green that we will use for the shadow on the cactus. We'll add a little bit of crap. Yeah, the brown's too strong. Alright, comes off really easily. I'm just gonna grab a bunch of the green, kind of mix it in. Let's see. That's good. Yep, we'll go ahead and we'll use that. And so first, so you gotta remember they're all kind of like different ovals in the different sections of the cactus. And the light is coming from right and down like this at an angle. So the first thing I'll do is I will go ahead and I'll go like this. Kind of give it a little bit of a shape. And then kind of like this. So you can kind of see how it folds in the section that's thinner. And then over here, give a little bit of a rounding, going back like that. There we go. Same down here, just a little bit, kind of like following along the curvature of the plant, and then actually going up a little bit here just to show how it indents from where the next section comes off. And now I'm just gonna run up just a straight line, kind of like this, coming up to here, and then I'm just gonna run it back down and cover in this entire section, or this entire side of this section of the cactus, like this. Okay, that looks good. Grab a little more color, and then same thing, but on this one, going in on this side, and then just kind of going upwards. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just gonna pull it out over here. This is basically just following the curvature of the different segments to just show which side the shadow would fall on. Okay, and then here. Okay, and go slowly so you're not worried about messing up. And then same right here. I'm just gonna grab that and go around, just following the curvature of the segment. And there we go. I'm gonna step back a moment. So yeah, the shading definitely helps add a lot in terms of appearance. And then while that's drying, I'm just gonna go ahead and switch back to the blossoms, the cactus blossoms. I'm just gonna grab a bunch of red. I'm gonna grab a little bit of brown here, and a little bit of the purple. So that looks pretty good. I'm gonna grab a little more. I'm really gonna try to darken it up. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. So keeping with the same consistency of the direction of the light, what we'll do is kind of outline this one just a little bit, just to show, just like the bottom, kind of like how it curves. And then same right here, like that. And then this one, a lot more in shadow here, and then curving it around like this. And then on this side, okay, and same on this side, kind of like that, and then a little bit like this, just a little curve. I'm trying to keep the strokes into just one continuous motion, just because you can get a much nicer even wash that way. Like that. And then a little bit right here. Okay. And then a little bit on this one, coming down like that. Also, actually right here, it'll be catching some shadow from this one. So we go like that. And then on this side of this blossom. And then right here. Okay. And rinse my brush. So that's good so far. I am going to mix up a little bit of gray. And the way I'll do that is I'll grab this black that's over here. I'll rinse off my brush. And then grab just a little bit of the blue. Gives me kind of like a nice blue gray, and I'm just gonna run this over all of these little rocks here. And then I'm just gonna leave that. And what I'll do is I'll go back to this so that I can just go ahead and work on getting the darker color for the pot. And I'll do that by just grabbing the brown and then dulling it down a little bit with some of the dark blue. You don't want too much, just a little bit, because it's a very strong color, so it goes a long way. And then I'm just gonna grab water to dilute the color itself. And that's looking pretty good. Maybe a little more water. Okay, So I'm just gonna go ahead and cover that in here. Just do a little line over here for the edge, and a little bit over here, like that. And then I'm just gonna run it down. And what I'm going to do now is maybe just a little bit right here. So while we have all of that here, I'm actually going to rinse off my brush, dry it off a little bit, and then I'm just going to soften up the edge. Just go like this. Just run your brush right along the edge of the shadow, and you can create a little bit of a gradient. So it's not just a harsh shadow, there's a little bit of softness to it. There we go. You can obviously experiment with the amount of gradation that you want and how soft you want the shadow to be. The more you dry the brush and then just kind of like pick at the edge, the more you can kind of pull out the diffusion of the shadow. So I think that looks pretty good. I'll rinse my brush. And then we will revisit the color for the succulent. Now we used dark blue and green to mix that color. And we need to make it darker now for the shadow. So grab the same colors, but really I'm just going to use more of them, like a little more of the dark blue, to really help punch up those values. Let's see. That's pretty close, but just a little more. Just a little more. That's fine. That looks good. Okay, so we're gonna add a little bit in here, in this little space, and then on the side, right there, and then here on this curvature, over here, and then underneath this part, and maybe a little line here, and kind of thinking about where the light is coming from. So this segment of the succulent, I don't know what to call these things. They look like tentacles. Succulents are pretty interesting looking. Okay, just kind of pull it out like that, and down here, a little bit on the ledge, and then a lot down here, as well as over here. There we go. Let's see, how does that look? That looks pretty good. I'm gonna rinse my brush. And we're almost done here, honestly. The only thing is I need to get a little more of the gray to put in for the rocks here. Put that just to show some variation, like there's some shadow, so it's not just all one color. Okay. I rinse off my brush. And honestly, that's pretty much done. The only thing is I am going to add the outline like I did for the previous one. Just to help emphasize some of the needles, as well as different sections that that don't pop as much. I mean, I'm thinking maybe I should have used some different colors to try to make some sections of this stand out more. But the initial reference image that I used, the cacti itself was pretty, the colors weren't really that vibrant. So I might do a second version of this one just to show more vibrant colors and how one would go about doing that. That being said, I am happy enough with how this looks, or how the colors look. I'm just adding the black lines just to give more definition. If you don't have, this is called ink brush pen. You can find them pretty much in any art store. If you don't have one, they are really fun to work with. Getting down ideas, or just like sketching things, or just, you know, on the go. They're very useful because they come with a reservoir. That's actually part of the reason I'm using it, is because it just has a reservoir, so I don't have to go back and forth between the palette and the paper. And also, because it has such a fine tip and it's kind of like longer, it'll make it easier for you to see as I'm coloring parts in. So that's the other reason I use that instead of the black here, which you can use just as easily. Just if you're wanting to do this, don't feel like you have to outline things. The painting was pretty much done when we finished coloring everything, or painting, I should say. Okay, and do that. And I'm basically just giving some outlines. Obviously I'm not going everywhere. I'm just kind of going here and there just to give, especially on the darker side of things, to give that outline, to give that definition. Some compositions work really well with outlines. Not all of them, but like, I think it depends a lot on the colors and the shapes, or also on the preference of the viewer, or the artist. That always plays a big role. Okay. There we go. See, like this one kind of got a little hidden here in the paint, so going in behind helps kind of emphasize it. Like some of the details can sometimes get kind of hidden when you paint over them, so that's why I like going back over. Okay, it's looking pretty solid. Like that. I also like this one because you can actually go pretty fast in terms of, because you're not always switching back and forth between different sizes, because you can get such a great variation in size of the stroke as well as texture. Those two things actually speed up the whole process tremendously. There's an artist that he passed away recently, really incredible Korean artist. I suggest all of you look up. His name is Kim Jong-ji, and he's known for making these incredible masterpieces with similar paint or ink brush pens. They're very Like, he shows the full potential of the tool. Okay, a little bit here. All right, I'm going to step back again. Yeah, I think we are done. I'm going to pull up another, I have another sheet of the same exact image here. So I just wanted to bring that up just to show, like, this is what it started off as, and this is what it is when it's finished. I just thought that maybe I should show that just because of how incredibly different it looks when you add all the color and the rendering in there. So yeah, I might do that more often with the future pages. But yeah. So, okay, that was pretty much it for page number 5. And hopefully the colors didn't come out quite exactly like I wanted them to, so I might redo this page just to show a little bit variability. But if there's any questions at any time, just leave a comment, send me a message, whatever works. I always try to respond within 24 hours. And with that, I will see you at the next video.